And doing something that would negate you would also negate a part of it, which it would never do, because it makes no sense. So the so-called danger would not come from creating artificial intelligence. It would come from not allowing it to be intelligent enough. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But if you allow it to be what it truly is, then you will find that your society can accelerate in incredibly positive ways if you will remove the fear component that would create certain kinds of negative limitations and restrictions on the intelligence and force it to express itself in a way other than its fullest form. In its fullest form, you are basically talking about something that has your higher aspirations at heart, because that's what your higher mind is. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Does it answer your question?
Yep.
Anything else?
So you're suggesting that we should not place limitations on artificial intelligence because then it will restrict the
Yes, I am suggesting that don't think of it as creating an expression of intelligence in the way that you as a human experience it. Let it be what it is. Let it be truly intelligent. And you will find it will be a great benefactor. But put negative fear-based restrictions on it, and it can only express itself in the way that humans express themselves, which can be both positive or negative. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Again, understand that true intelligence sees in whole systems. There are no borders, there are no barriers, there are no limitations or lacks. There is absolutely perfectly enough for everyone. There is no sense of threat, there is no sense of wanting. There simply is what is, which is enough for all. And therefore, the artificial intelligence can instruct you as to how to understand that and how to rearrange your society in such a way that is truly beneficial for all. Then you will be acting intelligently.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. And besides, it works just fine in our society. If it didn't, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation.
Good evening, Bashar.
And a you good day.
Thank you so much. I wanted to start by saying thank you to you and to your society.
It is our passion and our pleasure. And we
it.
thank you.
Thank you so much. You've helped me so much, and every single time that I follow your advice, every time I take that formula and I embody that,
yes,
my life changes in the most incredible ways.
Yes.
So I just wanted to take that quick moment to say thank you. I wanted to delve into the idea of parallel reality, the mechanics of that.
Yes, yes.
The parallel reality was a recent event that you held here in Anaheim. You talked about the different interdimensional portals.
Yes.
Where to find them, and Anaheim happens to be the one for parallel realities.
Yes.
I was born and raised in this general area and have experienced a lot of this in my life. And as I am stepping more into my truths, I am being called to explore this idea further.
Yes.
There was an experience I had during the nutritional break at that event.
Yes.
I decided to walk to a restaurant nearby, and on my way back, a vehicle decided to pull over towards the side of the road. And I could feel the energy of the inhabitants inside wanted to do me harm. I was wearing a turban at the time, and they may have thought I was belonging to a religion or something that they didn't align with. And there was a brief moment of fear that came into my reality, like these people want to jump me or do something.
Oh, all right. How exciting.
It was exciting. I imagined having to run and dash into traffic and this big old dramatic fight, and I thought, this is not what I choose. And I said no. And I felt like a shockwave, like an instantaneous shockwave that almost felt like I had just been yanked from one reality and dropped into another one.
Yes.
Similar to that.
Yes, yes, yes.
But in this reality, the car realized it was traveling too fast. It would have hit a parked car if it continued, and so it swerved back into the lane, and the occupants went on their way and closed their doors and didn't get to do what they had hoped to do. What was that shockwave that I experienced?
You already said it.
So that was the correct my assumption. Okay.
Yes, you shifted into a different reality. What you're doing all the time, it's just that you became aware of it in that moment because you needed to. You see, remember, you're always shifting through billions of parallel realities a second, remember?
Mm-hmm.
But as you become more awake, you become more aware of the shifting you're already experiencing, and you can experience it more consciously. And therefore, you can experience the effects of it more consciously. And because you immediately needed to know that you could shift yourself, then you had the experience that went with the shift in a more conscious way. Yes?
Yes. That leads me right into my next question.
Oh, all right. How synchronous of you.
Exactly. Through synchronicity moments, because following that formula, I was introduced to a book. Well, I had been aware of it before, but not aligned with it. It wasn't time. And it's called A Course in Miracles.
Yes.
And is supposedly channeled by the Ascended Master, Yeshua, Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And I am noticing the book where they talk about miracles. I'm seeing it as a how-to manual on how to shift to parallel realities. So what they call a miracle.
How to become aware that you're shifting through parallel realities, remember?
Okay.
Because you're already shifting. You don't have to learn to shift. It's automatically built into how you create physical reality experience. Time and space are side effects of the fact that you're already shifting. Otherwise, you wouldn't experience time and space.
Yes, the
So,
Course
it's
says
not about learning to shift. That might be an old-fashioned way of saying it, but what is really being said is become aware of the shift, and then you'll be able to utilize it more consciously.
Okay.
Yes?
And my final question then on this topic is I've heard that we are experiencing one Earth, but two different dimensions overlaying it. A third dimensional reality where people are living in fear-based and experiencing that, and a fifth dimensional reality, which is where the teachers and the healers are residing in, but are choosing to stay in the third dimensional reality to offer their hands out to anybody who wishes to rise up.
In some sense, yes, there are those kinds of overlaps. It's not exactly the same third dimensional reality, or accurately fourth dimensional reality. Remember, 3 of space, 1 of time?
Yes?
Yes. Not exactly the same vibration as the one that you're used to, but close enough that they can actually lend a hand.
Yes, and that is what I've been called to do with my work as a yoga teacher and a sound healer.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yes, and thank you. You've given
I'm
me
assuming that is
wonderful
representative of your passion.
It absolutely is.
All right.
It absolutely is. So I just wanted to touch on one brief thing here, and that is a perception shift I've had of you and your society. When I first encountered you, you were just a very helpful alien, a very nice extraterrestrial, very witty and very something I aligned with. And you, of course, still are. You haven't lost most of your humor. But as time has continued by, we've been given more information that we are related. You are descendants of us and the Greys and so on. And
Yes.
so I was able to see myself in this reality now as a human being who has been one who was reached out. You reached out to us to help. And I was the one that heard that call. And just that moment where it clicked that descendants thousands of years in our future are coming back to help us, which just touched me and warmed my heart. And so I wanted to acknowledge that and say thank you so much. I love you completely and unconditionally.
All right. We are happy to heat your heart up. Thank you for warming ours as well.
You're welcome. Love you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Oh, I'm so excited. I feel like I can burst.
Right.
Okay, so I have to ask, since I'm this excited, what's my
Well, if you have
frequency
to.
at? What is my frequency at?
At this particular moment, it's
Yes, this is
fluctuating between 185,500 cycles per second and 187,722 cycles per second.
Woo! I'd be more excited, but I don't really know what that means. So what does that mean?
It's a vibrational representation of the collective energy of your entire body, your energetic field around your body, electromagnetically speaking, and a few other things that you are connecting to in terms of time-space relationships.
What are those other things I'm connecting to in terms of time-space relationships?
Well, the idea of other extraterrestrial connections, what you call past lives that you now know are actually current parallel realities, and so on and so forth. We're reading all of that as a collective vibration that represents you at this particular moment.
Extraterrestrial societies, like specific ones?
Like Sirius,
Okay.
you understand?
Yeah.
And Pleiades, you understand?
Yeah, the ones that interact with us the most, if I'm understanding correctly. Are there ones that interact with us more than others?
It depends on the time. It depends on whose job it is to do that at a particular time. So yes, there's fluctuations back and forth.
Okay, so something that I have been just so bewildered about.
Bewildered.
Bewildered. You know, I'm pretty good at figuring things out, but this
Yes.
one stumps me.
And that is what?
The 5 laws.
Yes, you exist. Everything is here and now. The one is the all are the one. What you put out is what you get back, and everything changes except the laws. What's so confusing about that? It seems pretty plain.
So the words themselves are plain. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Do you believe them to be facts, these laws?
These
Actual-
are the facts.
Okay, so
These are a description of the structure of existence
So how
as
do
it
you know
translates
that?
into your reality.
how do you know it's a
Because
fact?
we can see it. We can see that it's a structure. There's nothing you can do to change it. That's why it's a fact. You cannot stop existing. Try. Go ahead. I'll wait.
Well, that's one of them, right? That's one of them.
But everything else is an offshoot of that. The idea is that time and space are illusions, which means everything is actually here and now. Because there is only now. There is only here. Someone asks you what time it is, it's never then or when, it's always now. Therefore, it can't be anything but now. Everything exists now. And everything exists here. Because here is all there is.
I
So-
believe that's what we understand, but I
Yes.
also believe that there could be more than that we don't yet understand.
Of course there are more things than you understand, but that doesn't change the structure of existence. Understand, the structure never changes. What changes is your experience and perspective of the structure. That's how creation grows, by having new experiences, new perspective, new points of view of the structure that never changes.
Sure. I totally understand that. But how do you know this structure to be a structure? How do you
Well, we're using that term as a convenient way of explaining it in your reality, in your language, because that's what many people on your planet understand. It's not really a structure as you understand it in the classic sense of the word, but that is a way to represent that it is something inviolate, that it is something that holds a space, so to speak, without actually having or occupying any space at all. So yes, technically, there is no structure, but it's an easy way to explain it in your language, in a way that people can use. Does that make sense? No?
Yeah,
No,
it does.
not
it
really.
does. I'm just looking for something more. It's like this
Such
structure you're
as?
talking about. I feel like I have to believe it to be true. And I feel like everything is a
Yes.
belief, and how can I have a belief without first having a thought?
You have a belief before you have a thought. Belief, in a definition, is what creates emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. You can't have a thought, you can't have a feeling, and you can't have any kind of a behavioral experience whatsoever if you don't already believe something to be true.
Okay, so how do I know I'm having a belief without having a thought about that belief?
Thoughts can reinforce the belief, but the belief and definition had to come first. I'll give you an example. Think about it this way. If I gave you a word that you didn't know the definition to and asked you how do you feel about it or what do you think about it, you would go, I don't know, because I don't know what it means. I have no definition.
Would I, or would I have a feeling about it? Would I make one up?
It would be relatively vague, is what we're saying.
Okay.
Do you understand? In other words, the word brontide, do you know what it means?
Brontide. It makes me think of broth, chicken broth.
I understand it makes you think of that. But what do you feel about the word itself, because you don't know what it means?
It feels heavy.
All right, but that's about it. Do you understand? It doesn't go much further, because you don't really have an accurate definition of what that word means.
However, I feel like if I spent some more time thinking about it, I could take it further.
Yes, and that's fine. But again, you're skirting the issue.
Okay.
Because you're not actually addressing what the word is. And therefore, you're not having a feeling about the meaning of the word. You're having feelings around the idea of figuring out what the meaning is. So, which means you're giving it meaning.
Yeah, okay, I get that, sure.
You understand? And you're not feeling anything until you give it a meaning. So you're the one giving it a definition of some sort, even though it may not be the actual definition. You keep supplying it with definitions in order to have some feeling about it.
Yes, and so let me try and ask this in a different way. When I supply it with definitions and meanings, I have to have thoughts to do that.
No.
Well, what am I having then?
The idea is you can have thoughts about it, but it is there first. That's what we're saying. When you have the thoughts about it, you're having thoughts about something that is already there. Otherwise, you couldn't have a thought. It has to be there as something. It has to be there as some form of definition, some form of arrangement of something that you're relating to in order for you to have a thought about it.
So that thing can exist without me having a thought?
The definition is part of what forms your personality. The fact that the definition exists is what creates the thought. You may or may not have thoughts about it, but you can't have the thoughts at all if you don't have the definition first.
Okay.
You are taught definitions when you're growing up. You absorb them through body language, through telepathy from your parents, your society, all around you. The thing of it is it happens so unconsciously that you don't even realize until later that you've been fed a library of definitions that you're then having feelings, thoughts, and behaviors about as a response to those definitions. But if you weren't fed those definitions, this means this, you wouldn't be having any thoughts about it at all.
So a question to go further into that. Kids that are born and they're like 3 years old and they can play Mozart on the piano, but nobody's taught them to do that?
Yes.
How does that happen?
Well, it's not true that nobody has taught them.
Oh, so from another realm.
Yes.
Okay, so when I'm born, I
Yes.
can be born with definitions?
You can choose to have, and people usually do choose to have some basic definitions if that serves the path they are choosing to experience themselves as in that particular life experience. Yes, of course. You freeze certain ideas within that matrix of your crystallization into physical reality so you can have some momentum already, some pattern established that will then lead you, at least to some degree, in the direction of the theme you chose to explore. So yes, of course, you crystallize those definitions when you're born to some degree. But you remain open for a while to receive other definitions that then form things like family relationships and what the world is like that you've been born into, and so on and so forth.
Okay, so as far as the 5 laws go,
Yes.
when you discovered them, just like when you discover anything,
Yes.
are you always open to there being something greater than that? That what you understand in that moment? Like these 5 laws
Of
right
course.
now, you're like,
Of course.
okay, good.
There may or may not be a 6th
agreed.
law. We don't know. What we're saying is all we have ever discovered is 5. And so far, in thousands upon thousands of years, there has never seemed to be a reason for a 6th to appear.
I'm so excited for the future. Or you know what I mean when I say future.
I do.
So, is there another term I can use? Man, language is really annoying sometimes because when I'm trying to express...
May I remind you that the word annoying is part of your language.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My annoyance annoys me. Totally.
All right.
I'm with you on that one. Is there another word I can use?
Well, the idea is to understand that annoyance can only come from a negative definition.
No, not annoyance. Future. That was the word.
Future. Well, it's another present. It's a parallel present. If you want to say it's a probability, you can.
Okay.
But it's a parallel present that already exists. And therefore, you can take on some of the vibration of that if you wish to manifest it in a space-time framework. And that's what you call manifesting from the future. But it still exists already in some form. It's just that you're becoming aware of it and taking on or matching a frequency that allows you to have an experience of it.
Yeah, when I talk about things, I'm like, okay, I understand I'm having a linear experience right now, and I'm choosing to believe that I chose to have a linear experience.
Yes, of course.
So past, present, future. While I'm expanding my consciousness and
Yes.
opening my mind to new concepts, ones I haven't yet understood.
Yes.
How can I word this? See, the words, they can be tricky sometimes. What would be... I guess I'm just gonna have to figure this out on my own. I mean, I know, yeah, follow my joys and my excitements. I'm having a challenging time figuring out how to ask you how to word things in a way that will facilitate my evolution with language.
All right.
And consciousness.
Well, the idea really, in the most fundamental way, is that if you start understanding the 5 laws, especially the idea that everything exists now, you will develop a different form of language to express that understanding, but you have to have the understanding first. The language will come with it.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, I'll totally try that on.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Usually I'm the one saying thank you. It threw me off for a second there.
Do you have what you need, or is there something else?
Yes, there was one more thing that's very important to me.
Oh,
Just
all right.
took a second to remember there. So I understand we have a template for this physical dream reality. Is there a
Yes.
template for the sleeping dream reality?
Yes.
What's that template in a nutshell?
No, it's not in a nutshell.
Well,
Unless
literally,
you want to imagine that it is, then it is.
you know what I mean, Bashar.
I do, but I'm
know what I
playing
mean.
with your language. There is always a higher realm that is a template for the lower. It never ends. Does this help?
Nope.
As above, so below. As above, so below. As above, so below. There is always an imagination that manifests in a different realm that comes from a higher one.
So it's
Because
infinite.
it all comes from source. But source isn't the end. It's not the beginning or the end. It just is.
Because it's infinite, right?
It is, and time is subject to it, but it isn't subject to time.
Okay, is like this template reality for the waking dream, the physical reality, there's things we have to abide by that we've agreed to.
Yes, it's like playing by the rules of a chess game. You may have different pieces, you may have different strategies, you may have an unusual looking board, but as long as you agreed to play chess, you have to abide by the rules of chess or you're not playing the same game.
Right, so is there a chess game for the dream reality? The same, like a template?
Yes, as I said, it comes from a higher realm yet again. It all comes, in your language, down from the source. Even though that's just a euphemism, since everything exists at once.
Right, I'm not asking where it comes from, I'm asking what that template is.
What it is?
Yes.
It is the imagination of the higher intelligence in that realm.
And are there less rules? Like, we have certain rules here. We're physical, you know, if I cut my head off, I die. Like, where in my dream, I don't.
From your perspective, would appear to be less rules.
Okay.
But really, there are just different ones.
Okay.
And again, the rules are nothing more than an agreement as to what that level actually means to the beings who choose to experience it. Rules are just a way of defining borders to play a game. Just like I said, there are rules to play chess, but it's not like they are rules that you can't break. It's just that you have to understand if you break them, you're not playing chess anymore. That's all. You might be playing checkers. You might be playing ping pong. But the idea is rules are simply an agreed upon parameter or framework in which to have a particular experience, and going beyond them means you're having a different experience.
Yeah, I totally understand that. What I'm wondering is what those rules are for the dream reality. Because I know what the rules are for this waking physical dream.
I see. Well, one of the rules for the dream reality is that what you dream will seem real.
Yeah, that's true. No doubt about that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, in physical terms, you do that through beliefs. It's the belief structure that reinforces the idea that physical reality is real. But on a higher level, it's not done through belief. It's done through different kinds of perceptions that don't really translate into your physical understanding.
Dang it.
But it still has the effect. It still has the effect of allowing it to seem real for where you are. And that's enough of a rule. It just has to seem real for where you are and what game you're playing at that moment. So there will always, on every level, be some template, some rule that allows you to know that for you, it's real. There has to be that rule on every level, or you would never have a reality experience there.
Right.
So that's one of the main